languages, right? But I do believe that there's more. But like if we can get them five, if we can work with them five, we'll be really getting somewhere. But how important do y'all think those like the five, like understanding your partner's love language, what makes them light up, what makes them feel seen, heard, excited, aroused? How important is this in relationships?
Very.
I personally think it's very important. We all perceive love in a different way.
Mhm.
I think Gary Chapman, the author of the five love languages, or the founder of that concept, had a great point. And if you think about even our own children, like if you have multiple children, you can see that each of them kind of perceive how you love on them, or parent them differently. Same
Mm.
thing in relationships. And I think the key is that not only understanding our own love language so that we can articulate that to our mate, right, and how we need to be loved, but also when our mate their love language doesn't match ours, we have to
Mm.
work a little bit harder, if you
Mhm.
will, or be more intentional to fill their cup. Right? It doesn't mean that we don't fill their cup, because it's not the same, but it's maybe not natural to us, if that makes sense. So I think that's a big concept, because I recognize that I've been married twice, and I was divorced over close to 15 years ago. And that was a huge aspect of our relationship. That was a piece of it that we could not
Mhm.
connect on.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
communicating your love languages is important,
Yeah.
right? You have to
What does
communicate.
that mean?
So, like, you need to tell a person how you need to receive love,
Yeah.
just like they need to tell you how they need to receive it, so that
Wait a
you can
minute, Tammy.
actually.
Wait a minute. Now these women
What?
that they out here talking about. I'm not telling a man how to love.
Oh
If he
no!
don't know how to
Oh no! No!
love
No!
me,
No! No!
then
No!
he's not the one for me.
No!
And
No!
if he
No!
want to,
But
he would. If he
closed
That's right.
wanted
mouths
to,
If he
he
don't get
wanted,
would.
fed.
if he
If he
wanted to,
wanted
he
to,
would.
he
Closed mouths
Closed
would.
don't
mouths
get
don't get
fed.
fed,
Let me tell
right?
you something. You better tell him
Yeah.
how you need to be loved,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
he needs to tell you how he needs to be loved.
Right.
Like, personally, I believe everybody has all five love
Yeah.
languages.
Hmm.
It's just
Sure.
about the priority of them, as
Yeah.
Hmm.
far as what matters most,
Yeah.
right? Um, a lot of time men think gift giving is
Hmm.
women's love language, and it's like, oh, I'll buy you this, and I'll take you here, and I'll do X, Y, and for me, that's number five.
Right.
Like, it's the
Yeah.
least of my desires. Does that mean I don't want a gift? Absolutely not. It just means that if you decide to give me a gift versus spend time with me, we have a problem,
Hmm.
because quality time is my number one. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So you have to understand how a person receives it. But just because quality time is my number one, that doesn't mean that that's how I'm going to love on you. If physical touch is your number one, or if words of affirmation is your number one. If your number one is words of affirmation, I'm not going to love on you by saying, let's go. I set a date up for us so we can have time together. No, I'm going to give you words of affirmation and tell you how I admire you, or how much I appreciate you, or
Is it
you're
that
doing
easy? Is it that
absolutely.
easy?
No, it's
It
not.
is.
It
It
is
is.
not. It
It
is
really
not.
is.
It can
It
be.
is
It,
that
it
easy
really
when
is.
you want
Here's
to.
my thing. If
Hold
you
on, one at a time. One at a time. One at
It
a
wait a
can
time.
be.
minute. It really is that easy if you make it that way. I think we complicate things so much. It really is. If you openly communicate how you need to be loved, and that other person does the same, you make the choice if you're gonna love them that way. It's
Yeah.
going, like, you've been told. If you
Yeah.
tell me that's how you need to be loved, and then I choose to do something different, that's on
Yeah.
me.
Hmm.
Go ahead, Hazel.
Um, I I think to Tammy's point, I think it is that easy. However, I think our ego, our pride, and going back to unhealed, all of those things affect or effect how easy it can be. Even and this is something simple. It's still relationships. Even when I was a teacher, I and love languages change over time as you mature, as you grow, as you get healed. They begin to shift and look different, right? So Like even for me, my students, I do a lot of praising and affirmation, like do a lot of affirmations for them when I was teaching high school. Um, those students and I was like, why aren't these kids getting me? Like I'm like, right on, great job, all this stuff, right? And they was not getting me. And I'm like, what the heck? So I decided I was gonna give them a love language quiz. So I gave them all one.
That's good.
Most of them actually wanted receiving gifts. So I had to translate that. What did that look like? That was meant me giving them an opportunity to present. That meant me giving them an opportunity to show up. It meant different things, right? Now I did teach marketing, but I had to make it make sense for them. What it did was because they finally understood theirs, and they understood that there was different love languages. Guess what happened? I said, I want you to go do this with your family, because a lot of them said they were having problems communicating with their family. Like, well, Miss J, it's easy to talk to you. Well, yeah, there's no expectation with me. Just talk to me. Like, what's up? But for them, it was a challenge. So once they did that, guess what happened? Their relationship started changing because the parents wanted that and the kids wanted that. They just needed to figure out a way to do it. And again, and I think you alluded to it, Tammy. We can get so comfortable in how we communicate, and we expect the person to accept it as love. There's so many times where we do love on this person, and the person doesn't even feel loved at all because they don't understand that way of being loved.
Yeah.
I remember I remember my ex-husband said, "Oh, you didn't love me." My second one, "I didn't love you, dude. What do you mean?" He said this was crazy to me, but this was his truth, so I couldn't knock it. He said, "You didn't go upside my head and make me bleed." Like that sounds crazy, right? But he attributed love to
Pain.
abuse,
Yeah.
to pain. That's what he attributed. So it didn't matter how much I wanted to hug him, spend time with him, pour into him, do all those love language. To your point, there's more than one kind. It didn't matter what else I did. He wanted blood. He wanted me to do crazy stuff. I'm not doing that. That's not happening. But again, it goes back to really understanding and giving the person an opportunity. Give them an opportunity to accept your love. Give them an opportunity to know how you want to be loved. Because if you don't, you're setting them up for failure anyway. Give them an opportunity to prove you wrong if you're looking to be wrong, or give them an opportunity to prove you right because you're deserving of all the love that they want to give to you, and they just don't really know how to do it.
That's a fact.
And that's where I was getting at as well. Like this should, it should be easy to know someone's love language. And with so many couples and singles, and even my own personal experience, we learned the 5 love languages. I remember learning about 15 years ago, and realizing like this is something that's easier said than done. And I'll explain my case, right? It's easier said than done because I have seen people be in relationships, and for example, quality time. If you are a truck driver, you're always on the road, and your wife wants quality time, or a physician or an attorney, somebody is not capable of this quality time on a consistent basis to fulfill this love language desire, right? So there are things inside of lifing that prevent it. Kids, obligations. I want quality time. There's very limited quality time, especially in the early phases when people are grinding, right? And then and that's just one example. There are a lot of situations where I've seen where there are some women, we think our women are affectionate and nurturing, not affectionate and nurturing. So sense of touch and intimacy, they don't have it. So men are sitting here deprived because the woman they're with isn't sexual, affectionate, and they're not into a sense of touch. So easier said than done. We can know what our partner's love language is. And I know a lot of married people that are unhappy and unsatisfied, and the quality of their marriage suffer because the person that they chose doesn't give love in that way. They don't want to give love in that way. It's not natural. They didn't grow up being hugged. They didn't grow up hearing words of affirmation. So I love you as I show you instead of I tell you. So you wanting something from someone and requiring that, even though they haven't developed that and they don't know how to get to that love language. That's why I say it's very hard, because I've seen it where I've seen in the honeymoon phase thinking that this person was going to fulfill your desires. And as we get 5, 10, 15 years in, being deprived of this for so long, especially when you had a relationship where somebody else showed up with the gifts, showed up with the words of affirmation, but who you chose doesn't give you that, and they haven't developed over 5 and 10, 15 years, that's when the frustration comes. So that's why I say it should be as easy as I can give you your love language. But one, can you give it consistently? Can you give it to their level of expectation? Do you want? How does that manifest from you to them? So that's why I say that should. I'm 100% on love languages, but I have seen them not work out, and that's why a lot of relationships break down, because people live deprived for so long.
But those individuals, to me, are choosing that, right? Like if you're in a dating phase and you're not getting fulfilled in that area, and you still choose to marry them and choose to stay in that relationship, then you chose that misery.
Yeah.
People are showing you who they are, and even if they give you a facade in the beginning and don't give you their true self, and then you marry them, and then now their true self comes out like, oh, I got you, so now I can just do what I want to do or live the way I want to live and not give you what I was giving you previously. Again, you're making a choice if you choose to stay. When people show you who they are, believe them. It
Yeah.
doesn't take, not being able to give quality time because of work environments, etc., you still can do it. I think it's a mature level to say, do I need it every day, 5 times a week?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to be mature to
Yeah.
know that that cup can still be filled. And does that mean that I got to sit next to you for quality time? No. You can pick up the phone and call me and say, I was thinking about you. Okay, great. See, we getting a little time in. It don't matter if it was 15 minutes and you got to go see patients or go get on the road. Like,
Yeah.
maturity and understanding how this thing works is
Mhm.
also has to be included. It can't just be give me, give me, give me. This is what I
Yeah.
need.
No, that's
I
a
agree.
fact. That's a fact. And this is the stuff that we have to have these conversations about, because this is the stuff that ends up breaking people up.
Yeah.
These unmet expectations, these unmet and sometimes even unrealistic. Because somebody talked about, let's say his love language is touch, and he need to be touched every night. and at 10:59 he need to be touched, and you don't feel like doing no touching. He's like, I touched last night, I touched last week, and he's saying, well, that was last week. Apparently you don't love me. People really attach these sort of things to their love languages, and so one of the things I want to talk about now, you guys, is something that really, to me, determines whether somebody's going to have a good relationship or not, and that is how you fight.
Mhm.
Absolutely fair.
How you